Gotta get it heated up. What is going on, everybody? We are back with the State Street Showdown, and we are getting ready to check out some League of Legends action right now.
Go,
We're at Seton Hall, right? Thank you so much, Mike. Right, we're getting ready to watch
go
Seton
ahead,
Hall versus
man.
DePaul, who are a part of the same thing that I am. We have been flowing in and out of tournaments all day long, and we are bringing you guys full coverage action of this right here. Perfect timing for my co-host and commentator, full shoutcaster today, doing the job on his own. Shout outs to Mike, ECT. What's happening, man?
How you doing? For example, yes, I'm Mike. I'm otherwise known as Eclipse MT on Discord, and I am shoutcasting this League of Legends game entirely by myself.
No, I mean, honestly, man, I had to take the other person's picture off, man. I mean, like, it's wild. But you got your jersey. You're ready to go today, man. I know you were watching some Seton Hall action earlier before. What do you think we can
Yes, I
expect to
was.
see today?
Well, for one thing, I mean, I could expect to see very, very jungler-centric action with Reaper. I would like to see him snowball this game, much as he did in his game against Marquette. But the meta was noticeably very, very top-heavy. Much of the matchups in the top lane were a dominant driving force throughout the entire game. So I would definitely like to see so in as much as I would like as the meta is very top lane centric, I would like to see a good jungler matchup for this entire series.
Gotcha. Okay. Very nice. Very nice. I think the teams right now are getting ready to boot up real quick. Let's take a look, see real quick. Cool. So we've got a custom match getting ready to go, and so we're getting ready to pull the trigger on that in any second now. I know we've got some info on. We got some info real quick on Seton Hall. What do you know about the DePaul League of Legends team? Is this their varsity or their JV team?
This is their A-team squad that was on here not too long ago against Marquette. So they're the premier squad of DePaul Universities, and you've got Capture, who's a very strong top laner in his own regard. Reaper, of
Nice.
course, I hold him to very high regard as a jungler, and they're just an all-around composition that I'm very friendly with. Now, this Seton Hall organization, I have not been acquainted with them in any sort of capacity at all, not even in past seasons.
Okay. Okay, so this might be the first time you've seen them go directly against DePaul. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, this organization and this roster, it may be the first time I've seen them in competition.
Nice.
So right off the bat, we've got an Ivern ban on the side of DePaul, a fresh ban on the side of Seton Hall. And I've missed another. And one of the new champions that I've forgotten, we got a Senna ban second for the side of Seton Hall. Excuse me. It's definitely a move. What I'm thinking is that the Thresh is that they definitely do not want to go against an aggressive bot lane support combo, because King Amazin is definitely, as an AD carry, definitely accurate with skill shots, definitely accurate with his with the positioning that he employs. A Diana ban will round up all DePaul bans, whilst we wait for the last ban for Seton Hall.
Got any guesses on who the last band might be?
The last ban is a Vayne.
Well, now you don't have to guess, right?
It's, again, like I was saying, very, very strong bot lane composition, attempting to limit their options. But I really, really wanted to see at least one jungler ban because of the strength of Reaper. But the jungle meta has diminished in recency. But it is still a very, very critical component.
Gotcha.
I myself am a jungler player, so that's basically. I'm speaking from acquaintance. We've got a rel pick first for Seton Hall, and they're hovering over Jin for their first pick as well. But Kaisa will be their first pick, will be the first round pick. I think it was almost immediately locked in. So it's definitely to provide a very safe option for King Amazin because Kaisa is a very strong bot lane champion.
Okay.
Misfortune will round up Seton Hall's second pick. We've got the Galio being hovered over right now on DePaul's side.
And then Reaper and these guys just finished something just a moment ago in EGF. I didn't get to watch the rest of that match. How did that go?
they were. It was a very big pub stomp against Marquette. I think Marquette's kill count did not even go over double digits, but DePaul was just stomping them right after that. They did have, I think, a level 1 gank, if I recall, very early in the game, but they were able to overcome that advantage. We got a Janna pick for round 2, so the Kaisa Janna bot lane combo. We've got both. It would definitely provide a big disruption to allow Kaisa to peel off of team fights effectively, which is very critical considering Kaisa's abysmal range relative to other AD carries.
Gotcha.
The Hecarim pick will be definitely toward the jungle. I've seen a lot of Hecarims, and basically what I'm going to be seeing right off the bat is that they are going to be a very gank-heavy composition for this entire game. And the Dr. Mundo pick for top as we round off the first pick and ban round. And a Vladimir ban, will be going in for Seton Hall. I think that might be definitely a response to what Zerk was playing in that last game against Marquette, because it is important to note that he was playing Vladimir during that game. A Pantheon ban for first at DePaul.
Yeah, Mike, so this is actually pretty interesting, kind of coming straight from this out of Valorant. I know we've got some players that are overlapping in a couple of other leagues today. Interestingly enough, I think one of our main guys who I want to give a quick shout out and thanks to Prime, your boy Tom, man, has put in some really great work,
will finish
man.
off, because I definitely believe they're trying to limit the top lane options, but I don't see anything that would indicate that Mundo would not be going to the top lane. So I do not agree with these decisions that DePaul are making when it comes to bans.
Oh, okay.
We got a Silas ban earlier for Seton Hall's second round ban as well, to round up their second round bans. And of course, they're going to be sending a Shen top. This will be a Mundo jungle, perhaps. And the Darius to go against it. I'm definitely going to be thinking that this would be a stalemate, largely due to the fact that Shen can just hold out some of that bleed damage that Darius can put out. But then meanwhile, the Darius, when it comes to Darius, it's just a consistent harass. And I'm really inclined to believe that Shen can just negate most of it.
Gotcha.
So early game on the top, the matchup is going to be a very, very slow game. An Orianna pick will round up DePaul's picks, which, as a mid laner playing an Orianna, you have to watch that ball positioning to be able to provide as much harass, and then you have to watch, and then likewise, when you're playing against Orianna, just watching everything. Just watching all that positioning. And Ari pick will round up every single pick too. So the Orianna-Ari matchup too, it's not going to be as prominent as the Darius-Shen matchup, but might as well be the very big driving force in the game, considering the most definite stalemate that would happen from a Darius-Shen matchup. Yeah.
I'll give you game screen here as well, Mike.
So what I'm going to be definitely seeing too, this is what for DePaul's composition in general, this is a very dive-centric composition late game, especially with the Hecarim. You've got the Hecarim to zone him out. The Darius can provide a hint of a semblance of catching out an enemy champion, and the other champions, especially as well, they have a lot of burst damage as well, especially with the Orianna, especially with the Kaisa, and then you've got the Janna to disrupt, to be able to peel off of team fights, or especially in the early game, a bot lane gank that Dr. Mundo could happen. And it turns out, as it does turn out, we do have a Dr. Mundo jungle.
Cool.
I haven't seen much of Mundo Jungle in recency to be able to create a confident assumption with how a Mundo Jungle would fare. But of course, late game Mundo ends up being this really tanky menace that just being able to soak up so much damage in the end.
Got it. Okay.
Right.
All right. Now, while these guys are in pregame, we'll take a quick message from Seton Hall. Just give them some love on their brand new setup on campus.
Esports is any video game in which you are competing against another player.
Esports is basically playing games in a competitive aspect.
I'd say esports is like video games competed professionally across like tournaments that are either hosted by, people through websites or by the companies that own the games themselves.
There's a lot of really cool things going on in esports in college recently, of course.
Necessarily wanted to take charge to pop the up. The knockup is there. Call of Forge going to be joining in. Every single member looking to try and make this kill happen.
Toad gets a lucky little bounce. He still makes the play. It's sitting out in front. It's in the net. Jared scores.
It's been known to some, starting way back when we had arcades and you competed to get high scores.
Just like how sports started off as a casual game and it evolved into a global...
Massive shows of 5v5 players.
If you're playing competitively, there are some things on the line, such as like rewards, fame.
Right now, we are in Jubilee Hall 524, also known as our Esports Lab. We were very, very lucky to partner with our Media Services and Technology Center here at Seton Hall. We got these amazing computers with 240 refresh rate monitors, top of the line specs, 2070 Supers, Core i7s, 9700Ks, brand new keyboards from Lenovo, as well as these awesome Seton Hall branded DXR Racer chairs. Our students compete from these wonderful computers while talking side by side to ensure communication is always at the top notch.
Dude, you just got nothing on me today, I guess.
We're getting ready to come back live in just about 15 seconds, 10 seconds now. Mike, we're getting ready to hop into the game, man. Any last thoughts before we dive in?
The very last thoughts I'm going to be diving in. This is, like I said, I am going to place my wager on team composition alone. I am going to place my wager on Seton Hall as a very big subversion of what you would expect of me. Sorry, people, but
okay.
The biggest justification is late game. You've got the Shen, you've got the Dr. Mundo, and of course 2 big damage sponges, 2 big damage negators, and then likewise you've got a very competent engage with the Ari and the Misfortune as well. Rel, I am not as familiar as a champion. I did not end up playing the game in as much frequency as I had been historically back when Rel was released, but from the remainder of that roster, I would definitely like to see a very traditional team fighting composition in late game, provided they can hold out against what would amount to be a very early pick composition from DePaul.
Cool deal, and I'll let you take it away for the rest of the match.
All right, right off the bat, we can see Seton Hall going in on a 5-man invade early game. They do get a bunch of early wards. Excuse me. And no summoner spells burned off very early as well. They will be backing off on this engage. DePaul setting up the early 5-man. Kaisa and Jana going in to the right side blue pit and setting up over there. They would most likely be anticipating them to be taking the blue buff early. But though quite contrary to what I'm expecting here, I do see that Mundo is setting up ready to take the red early. This is one of the reasons why I don't believe that Mundo would be starting good on the red side, is because you don't have that red buff priority. You don't have that red buff priority as you would starting on the blue side, where you can just easily have your bot laner leash and your entire bot lane, leash for your first buff. And Mundo being a manaless champion doesn't really benefit much off of that blue buff, so I really don't see why DePaul had placed the blue buff initially. And then, of course, Shen, as a result, Shen loses some of that priority that would be necessary to hold out against the Darius very early on. Hecarim, meanwhile, did start blue as well, getting the blue buff early as well, so they does get a negate in pressure. Darius will get the first level up on the top lane, though. Yes. What I'm liking to see, though, is what I'm liking to see much in the bot lane too is the harassed by the misfortune on the Kai'Sa. Rel with the lances, though, not as entirely not as familiar with that champion too. We did get Mundo's blue buff running out relatively recently, and red buff running out relatively recently. He does pick up the blue buff, and I'm looking to incline that this would be a bot lane gank soon enough. Hecarim just right across from there. Will we see it? They are going to be walking into a moon lane. There's the Janna Q coming up, and Hecarim will pop his E and back off from that point. We're seeing Seton Hall's bot lane help out their jungler a bit, clearing out that Rift Scuttler as well. There's a gank on mid. Zerk is going low. On Orianna. There is no flash, no cleanse. But she will still be surviving with a sliver of health and backing off. Mundo going up into the top lane, and Shen will be safely basing, but he decides to stop. I think he expects a gank. Will they go for it? They will remain on, clear the wave, give Darius a little bit of poke, but they will not take anything forward. And Mundo will... and Shen is recalling. Bot lane getting dangerously low too. And with the wave crashing down into the turret, this might be a first blood solo kill. The Ren is getting... You've got Volme down to about less than 25% of health, and they both clear the wave and recall immediately. This is really... And I think that early recall does end up getting a very critical turret damage onto the... Getting critical damage onto the early tower. There is a slight gold lead toward DePaul, but no kills at all. 1,000 gold lead, but that really couldn't mean much in the early game unless we've seen some early recalls. There's an early kill. There's the first blood onto Ahri, and Seton Hall will take it. I think that gank 2 was very critical. You got Ahri and Dr. Mundo with the ultimates now, which could provide very critical momentum in later on this game, and they are deciding to go toward the Infernal Drake. I think such a dragon would benefit this composition too. Bot lane coming in to provide some assistance, but it will safely go toward Seton Hall. There's a gank Hecarim. Ahri does not. Ahri just ults away with no ignite burned. All right. There's a gank coming in. There's a misfortune that flashes away. There's Janna coming in with the flash. There's a smite gets thrown out. And Mundo does not get no kills yet, but there's a huge amount of summoner spells burned off for bot. I think this could mean very well mean a kill within the next 5 minutes in the bot lane. And I think especially too with that Infernal Drake is already doing a decent number of pressure. The blue buff will be handed over to Ahri. Very good benefit of Mundo right there is that being a manaless champion which receives little benefit from the blue buff is that you can funnel them to your mid laner if you're safe on gold. In terms of gold leads too, the gold lead is still in DePaul's favor, but there is a slight gold advantage between Reaper versus the jungle. Ahri gets caught out after a mid gank, and so does Volmi. Hecarim coming in to save Zerch, providing a relatively safe ordeal. And I think what happened there too was that they actually did. I'm inclined to believe that they did call for the gank pretty early, but did not anticipate Reaper's presence quite nearby. So I think that Reaper being able to anticipate and respond, definitely turned that mid lane gank into DePaul's favor. We have a 2,000 gold lead right now, and a gank on top. Mundo throws Cleaver. Red smites Darius. Much damage coming on. There's a response from Reaper. Darius will fall. Hecarim will back off. And Seton Hall are now tied in kills to DePaul. Yeah. Bot lane has no summoners as well, but Kai'Sa is providing a decent deal of harass. Volmi will fall down to Kai'Sa as well. They're going for Misfortune. They do not get it. Bullet time will come out. Clear the wave. And Misfortune will be able to safely recall. Mundo on the Rift Herald. And will be able to take this Rift Herald pretty without incident. What I'm thinking, though, this Rift Herald, too, is that they do have a majority of their pressure concentrated onto the top lane, which, like I said, would be a very critical matchup to watch. So what I'm thinking very early on is that they would, at some point, go drop the top lane in, but Mundo does walk mid, providing coverage to Ahri. Hecarim also from the opposite river. Darius gets dangerously low, but but that Shen is on full bleed. Mundo coming in. Does he want to secure the kill? Darius recalling. Ahri almost gets picked off. There's a Shen with Stand United. Ahri dangerously low, but so is Reaper. He will be able to back off safely. No kills exchanged. The Dragon coming in less than 20 seconds too, so I think this critical maneuver might be able to grant Seton Hall that Dragon. It is an Ocean Drake, which would benefit some champions like Shen and Dr. Mundo. They look to be going around it, but there's no shots fired on it. It has been aggroed. Mundo coming in pretty shortly, and they are taking it. Very big advantage to their team composition too, especially the traditionally oriented tanks on the front line, carries on the back line with support sort of in the middle. with a composition like that, that would benefit their team fighting progress late game. The Mountain Drake is coming up next, though, and I think what I would like to see is DePaul being able to potentially take this dragon, because this would be a dragon that would benefit them to a huge extent. They're dropping the Rift Herald in the bot lane, though, but they do have 3 plates to go. Will they take first tower? They will be not taking first tower just quite yet, because Hecarim comes in, but bullet time will be drawn out. They will get Reaper to fall, but that bot tower is still dangerously low. They are peeling out for a handful right now at the moment, but they will get the minion wave in and deal the last bit of damage necessary to throw that tower. There's a flash forward by Balmy. Balmy will fall down, and they're backing up once again. A flash for flash from Kaisa to Misfortune, I believe. But ultimately, Seton Hall will peel out with a tower advantage, despite being behind in kills. The gold lead is still approximately 1,500. Reaching 14 minutes, turret plating will be fall, but the red turret will, but they will manage to get a bottom lane turret trade as well. Reaper coming in to gank top. Shen with the disengage. Excuse me. And there's Darius coming in, dealing some damage. There's Darius on full bleed. Will he... There's the block coming out from Shen. There's a flash away, flash for flash, and ultimate will seal the deal. Captcha will taking 1 kill off of Darius. Excuse me, off of Staslock on Shen. But he's dangerously low. There's a support and mid lane coming in for a gank. The ultimate doesn't knock anyone up. But Captcha will fall to Ahri after a charm. There's an ultimate coming in. It will take Misfortune. That mid lane turret is getting dangerously low too. So I think it will definitely fall. I'd consider it will definitely fall within this minion wave or the next couple. We got Volmi defending, trying to hold that tower for a couple. Ahri misses the charm, misses the ultimate. Ori does. Orianna misses the ultimate. But Mundo coming in, soaking up some of that damage. Ahri goes back. Hecarim pushes her. She will get picked off. But Mundo will trade for Reaper. The Mountain Drake coming in in less than 1 minute too, but I don't think DePaul is in any much of a position to get it. You've got this pressure that they're exerting consistently on the bot lane, and on the mid lane too. Mundo coming in for once more. He's soaking up quite a bit of damage. There's a knockout from Janna. Kaisa will kill him. Flashes the mastery. Nothing that's quite a bit of an unnecessary gesture. Yes. They will back Reaper backing off from the Rift Herald too. Didn't quite think that this was a safe pick, because of course all the pressure that they're exerting on the mid lane that Seton Hall is. The Mountain Drake spawning right now, and I think they're already motioning to take it, Seton Hall is. They're positioning over. Mundo's just right there, right by the blue pit. Will they be firing it? Because DePaul's coming in just right down the river from the mid side. There is a ward placed on the lone brush, but it is dissipated immediately. Mundo cleavers, gets the dragon aggro, pulls it away from DePaul. But Oriana just right there on the other side. Misfortune zoning out with... But then Ari gets caught out. Blast comes away. Hecarim ult does not connect. Flash forward. The charge doesn't get it. The drag falls to Seton Hall, but Ari gets traded off. Excuse me. No, she doesn't. Bullet time coming up from Misfortune. And Kapcha falls, but gets traded off. And an ace for a Mountain Drake in a team fight that happens in the bot side river. I'm really thinking, too, that this team fight, it did well to accelerate their gold lead, too, and it would provide a very good opportunity to negate some of that pressure that Seton Hall had been trying to exert as well from the earlier moments. We can get the scoreboard to come up right now. I need this right now. Yeah. The scoreboard as well. We've got some of that itemization. Some of the itemization, what I'm seeing right now too, is that we've got the Essence Reaver completed, the Phantom Dancer, excuse me, completed already on Kaisa as well. But one of the things I'm seeing is that Mundo. There is a. Yeah. There's a pick going on. The Rift Herald, I think, got Reaper from the aggro. But Ari got the last hit. There's a fight going on the Herald, but it will get picked up by Seton Hall. Bullet time coming out for Misfortune. There's the ultimate. There's the Ori ultimate. Yeah. And the Baron Pit is occupied by Seton Hall right now. They are pulling out. Though. They're looking to get some sort of a pick. You got Kaisa already down, but she's responding in a moment. But they will be using this opportunity to try to get some of that vision cleared off from the Baron Pit. We've got Hecarim itemizing toward defense too. Lots of resist being built on Hecarim is what I wanted to talk about. But overall, what I'm seeing most progress on champion-wise, you've got champion-wise, most of the gold on the side of DePaul is on Darius, is on Kaisa especially. So what I'm liking to see is that they are funneling they are putting most of that gold into on those carries and those damage dealers as well. But Seton Hall, despite their lower gold gain, has better distributed some of their gold. Mundo being relatively strong as an engage as well, especially building up some of those strong health items as well. Coming into the top lane. There's a crew from Seton Hall collapsing onto top, whilst DePaul uses the opportunity to take drag. They will get dragon. Mountain drag will be both teams with one mountain dragon. Relatively. They're collapsing in onto Baron Pit. They throw the cleaver onto the Rift Scuttler, but they get knocked. But Vomi goes down. Reaper going in, dives in, doesn't get any other pick. Dangerously low. Darius comes in. There's the 3-man drag. But DePaul will back out. But Seton Hall already, they're turning toward the Baron. They are going. Will they be going for it? They're not going to go for it, but they're receiving so much damage from DePaul. Mundo falls. DePaul starts the Baron. And Seton Hall, they're flying around outside the pit. Will they be going for it? There's a charm from Ari, flashes in, ults out. And Shen coming as well, gets caught out by Darius a bit. Gets a bit of damage on Darius. The Baron will towards DePaul. Shen flashes forward. Gets Janna, but falls to Darius. Hecarim will be shut down by Misfortune as well. And DePaul with a 3-man Baron. And only a freshly respawning Mundo will, again, on the side of Seton Hall, will be walking with significant pressure onto the lanes for a while. Excuse me. Got my mic. They're going to be exerting most of this mid lane pressure on the Baron pressure on the mid lane to start this out. But I do think that since that tier 2 mid lane tower is still standing right now, there isn't much to be done. There isn't much to be done in regards to a significant inhibitor trade at the moment. This Baron could very well run out without any inhibitors falling. But overall, it's just so far very quiet power play for on the side of DePaul right now. They're going bot, rotating. Will they pick off Ari? There's the ultimate, doesn't get Ari caught out. She's Zanya's. Bullet time from Misfortune for wave clear. And they're falling back. That the bot lane tier 2 tower will still stand. Mundo still chasing. Hecarim pops E. There's the shield from Janna. No catches. Misfortune flashes away. Mundo gets drugged by Hecarim. And Hecarim will get picked off by Misfortune. And they will, and no more kills will get exchanged right now. The Mountain Drag is standing up, but Shen uses a stand united on Mundo. Mundo dangerously low, gets picked off by Kaisa. The Ari Charm will target Darius. Gets the 3-man. Darius gets 2 ults. 3, and the ace on DePaul as a triple kill on Kaisa will finish the deal and give them another Mountain Dragon. I think this would compound the effect too that Baron power play would have exerted had the Baron been still up for DePaul at that time. The Mountain Drake would, I think the Mountain Drake would more than make up for that sort of ordeal. They will be onto the mid inhibitor at this time, and they will take it down. Darius on the bot lane. Doesn't quite get the bot lane tower. They are rotating towards the... They don't seem to be rotating yet towards the top lane tier 3 tower. It's dangerously low. Top lane inhibitor could be threatened in next rotation. Yeah. There's a rotation going on by Seton Hall and DePaul towards the bot. They are going towards top. It looks like they're going to be taking that tier 3 tower down. Will they go for it? They did go for it. But a team fight in the top red jungle. Darius will pull out 1 ult. There's another Q that drags them all in. 2 ultimates go on. And that's the end of game. And that looks to be, with that ace, end of game 1. They're on the Nexus towers. They have full pressure. Respawn timers are mostly about 30 seconds. And a game freeze will not let us show them hitting the Nexus and ending the game. Looks to be. Yeah. That was an interesting subversion of events that I have seen. That was an interesting subversion on my ways. Okay. There's my money. My money's down. My money's on the wrong... I guess I bet on the wrong horse, first of all. But I think, too, the early gold lead that DePaul had accrued managed to rear its ugly head late in the game, too, because you got DePaul getting all of these crucial picks against Seton Hall with Darius, with Hecarim, and then the Ari and the Orianna dealing the majority of the damage to seal out the deal. So it was quite... My money on Seton Hall was largely in the fact due to the fact based on the traditional team composition that I have seen work several times through, and it would have largely worked for the team in this case, but the early gold lead that they had managed to accrue did not end up following through with those expectations.
All right, so what do you think we're going to get for Game 2, Mike?
Game 2? For Game 2, what I'm going to be wanting to be seeing here is that there is going to be a side swap too, so I think the side... I'm not going to be inclined to see any strategy changes right off the bat as the result of a side swap, but what I'm thinking is that Mundo would have been very weak on a red side with the diminished top lane pressure, but they did end up following through. But both sides ended up following through with a top lane leash at that first initial game.
Got it. Okay.
So no strategy changes yet that could be apparent from the side change.
Well, I know that these guys are going to kind of go through some things on getting the next match set up. I'm going to try to give you something like a break you had to commentate there for a straight 30 minutes, Mike. And we're going to hop into a couple of quick breaks for both DePaul University and for Seton Hall. We'll be right back, guys.
We'll be right back after these messages.
Hey everyone, my name is Alex Rodriguez, also known as Karma Juni, and I'm a moderator here at the DePaul Esports Gaming Center. We opened in April of 2018 with the goal to have a place for students to compete and play casually. And yeah, let's take a look inside. Here at DePaul Esports, we have 6 different varsity level teams. Those games include Rocket League, Overwatch, League of Legends, Valorant, Smash, and Beat Saber. In addition to the varsity teams, we also hold junior varsity and academy level teams. We have around 10 to 15 of those. So all of our PCs are equipped with a NVIDIA GeForce GTX 1070 graphics card. So 16 gigabytes of RAM, 512 gigabytes of a solid-state drive, and we also have an Alienware 25-inch 240Hz monitor with 1 millisecond response time. This is great because you can game at the fastest FPS with the lowest latency possible. As a DePaul Esports competitor, I really appreciate these PCs because it allows me to compete at the highest level possible without worrying about anything else interfering. In addition to the 12 PCs, we also have an array of consoles available. We have 1 GameCube, we have 2 Switches, and 2 PS4s, allowing for anyone to get involved. In addition to our varsity level games, we also have several games rated tier below that you can come into the Esports Center and play. These games can include Fortnite, FIFA, NBA 2K, or Tekken 7. So let me tell you a little bit about the student experience. As a student, anyone can come on in, hand over your ID to the moderator, and you're welcome to play any game you want. We have roughly 1,200 students, 700 for the PCs, and 500 for the consoles that come in annually. The average student here spends about an hour and a half. When we opened the Esports Center, we came up with a code of conduct. See, here at DePaul, we're at Vincentian University, which means we respect the basic human dignity of all people. The code of conduct holds our participants to those values. The Esports Code of Conduct includes 3 main tenets. Number 1, honoring the unique experiences and cultural backgrounds of every competitor is essential. DePaul believes that we must understand, respect, and embrace our differences, and the Gaming Center will be a space where this flourishes. Number 2, harassment based on any aspects of a person's identity will not be tolerated. Behaviors that contradict DePaul's Vincentian mission or policies, such as bullying, violence, sexual harassment, or intimidation, will not be tolerated. Number 3, toxicity, cheating, betting, or illegal activity is not allowed. Lastly, good luck, have fun, and be Vincentian. Thanks for joining us on this tour of the DePaul Esports Game Center. If you want to find out more info, check us out on our website, esports.depaul.edu, or on our Discord, discord.gg/DePaul Esports. Thanks so much for joining us.
Esports is any video game in which you are competing against another player.
Esports is basically playing games in a competitive aspect.
I'd say esports is like video games competed professionally across like tournaments that are either hosted by people through websites or by the companies that own the games themselves.
There's a lot of really cool things going on in esports in college recently, of course.
Necessarily wanted to take charge to pop the up. The knockup is there. Call of Forge going to be joining in. Every single member looking to try and make this kill happen.
Toad gets a lucky little bounce. He still makes the play. It's sitting out in front. It's in the net. Jared scores.
It's been known to some, starting way back when we had arcades and you competed to get high scores.
Just like how sports started off as a casual game and it evolved into a global...
Massive, massive shows of 5v5 players.
If you're playing competitively, there are some things on the line, such as like rewards, fame.
Right now, we are in Jubilee Hall 524, also known as our Esports Lab. We were very, very lucky to partner with our Media Services and Technology Center here at Seton Hall. We got these amazing, amazing computers with 240 refresh rate monitors, top-of-the-line specs 2070 Supers, Core i7s 9700Ks, brand new keyboards from Lenovo, as well as these awesome Seton Hall branded DXR Racer chairs. Our students compete from these wonderful computers while talking side by side to ensure communication is always at the top notch.
You just got nothing on me today, I guess, huh?
Our esports program started back in 2013, and we kind of hit our stride in 2018 when we joined alongside the Big East Conference, a conference mostly known for its basketball, but we're trying to change that just a little bit to include esports.
Playing in the Big East is fun. Very happy to be playing in a league that has players who are so determined and competitive.
Oh, they get quite competitive, to the point where like, if you lose, you'll start crying. If you win, you'll cry tears of joy.
Since then, we've been taking names, bringing back championships, and having fun.
Best part is, to be honest, the people that are on the team. They're really great people.
These amazing students who've worked incredibly, incredibly hard to create not only this program, but to continue its successes. This team came from a club and grew from a couple of members to now a competitive team. They have been hungry for competition, and they have shown it time and time and again through their victories and through their comebacks from defeat.
Seton Hall are too far ahead. Seton Hall taking massive strides here. Under 4 members, Seton Hall.
What a play out in front. Seton Hall take a 3-1 lead.
Seton Hall is professional,
determined,
competitive, organized.
We have a lot of camaraderie here.
Most importantly,
relentless.
Go Pirates.
Go Pirates.
All right, never mind. Too inconvenient. Yep. Yeah. That was just... I mean, obviously I bet on the wrong horse game one, so that's obvious. So was a total embarrassment, but I mean...
You can't be 100. You can't be 100% right, Mike. Okay.
Just let me know that I like traditional team compositions. Okay. I like the traditional two. I just want everyone. I mean, if it's easy for me to follow too, when everyone sticks to the very traditional two tanks on top lane and jungle respectively, heavy carry on mid, and a bot lane support duo. The AP carry on the mid lane. When you have the AP carry on the mid lane too, I just end up liking to follow through with a bunch of those resources like that. So right now we're heading into game 2, and to whom are we waiting for right at the moment?
So I think the guys are just about ready to go. Let's take a look back at the screen. Want to once again give a shout out to both DePaul and both Seton Hall guys, who I see are huge in our chat right now. And it looks like, there we go. Looks like we got the thumbs up from everybody, and we're getting ready to hop into this one next. Based on what you were able to see in the last one, Mike, how do you think this next one's kind of going to go for Seton Hall? Do you think, what do you expect them to make a change on? Try to see if they can get a better result this time.
I liked what Seton Hall's jungler was doing on the early game, so I want to see more emphasis onto him as well. The last game in particular was won, I think, largely with the efforts of Ariana and Darius on the last game as well. We're seeing again a Thresh ban to start things off. and an Ivor band. So largely so far same bands as last ordeal, despite the side switch. What I'm thinking too is that the very, 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 very strong composition that DePaul had when it focusing everything onto the damage dealers. I think that's a composition that had worked for them. So I want to see Seton Hall do a lot of the traditional anti-damage to anti-resist champions like, the disabling champions, for example, with all the crowd control that they employ in their primary kits. Okay. So the Seraphine band comes up in the same fashion as well. So far the same bands go throughout. We're not seeing any changes over there. They do ban the same things as last game. And another Kaisa pick that goes towards Seton Hall this time around too. And the Jinx. We saw Jinx on the game versus Marquette with King Amazon's ability to hit those super mega death rockets with utmost accuracy. So props to seeing that possibly in this game as well. A Galio pick will be second for DePaul. I'm going to like the Galio pick right now because especially the ability to flex Galio into the top lane or the mid lane makes it a very decent pick to mix up strategies as well. A Morgana will round out the support pick. I would like Kaisa being paired with the Morgana as well because it allows the Morgana with the Q to safely allow Kaisa to deliver some of her burst damage very early on. So we can see a lot of very early first bloods going toward the bot lane in Seton Hall's case. They will stick with the Shen though, and the Lulu will round up DePaul's picks. A Jinx and Lulu combo. My assessment on the Jinx Lulu is largely you've got the Jinx, who's a very, very high mobility champion, especially after you get those kills. So Lulu being able to augment that mobility is, in my opinion, really is just a case of min-maxing on the side of DePaul. Their first ban though is a Mundo, so that's definitely an indication that they are uncomfortable with that particular pick. I did see some discomfort going on with Mundo early on, game one. They bound up the Olaf a second time, so I think two champions with very similar play styles, they would not want to deal with that sort of ordeal in the second game. The Malphite ban will continue for Seton Hall. And we're waiting for the second ban. It's a Darius. That was another high-pressure champion that DePaul had utilized in this last game. And their first pick's a Camille. Looks to be. They're hovering over it right now. No, nothing locked. No, it's a Cho'Gath. I would have liked to see the Camille too, but then again, I don't think that DePaul wanted to pressure all of their tank capabilities onto one player, i.e. the Galio, because this Galio, from what I'm inclined to believe, would be building very tanky to provide a barrier, a sort of damage sponge for the team. You've got Cho'Gath, really impressive damage sponge by design. They're going to be picking up Hecarim as well. Seton Hall will be. And Volmy, Seton Hall support, will be picking Ori. It will be an Orianna. No time to make any backtracking decisions as well. I would definitely believe that Orianna is a good matchup for this composition that Seton Hall is employing with the heavy damage, can be able to synergize with that Kaisa. Kaisa but Hecarim as well might end up building very, very tanky as opposed to being a pure bruiser build, as I've seen Hecarims being built before in the past. So they've got all the responsibilities for Hecarim to employ a lot of their... So they got a lot of responsibilities for Hecarim to be a bruiser for this sort of team composition, as well as the Shen. You've got Stand United being able to dissipate some of that damage, that the Jinx, and perhaps the Galio, but most likely the Kazakh's going on. Didn't see that last pick when it was spawned out, but Reaper very good on this champion. He does tend to be a hit. Kazakh's does tend to be a hit and run champion. I'll say that much. So you've got a very damage-oriented composition as well in the early game that will diminish to be a traditional team fighting champ composition with Galio providing that sliver of magic damage that is necessary for this composition to work. Meanwhile, on the other side of Seton Hall, you've got the Shen and Hecarim as your traditional tanks, Orianna the AP carry, Kaisa the AD carry, and then Morgana as a very aggressive support. So what they would need to do is focus on these very early Morgana picks, and then just let on for Kaisa to just fall in, and Kaisa and Orianna to seal the deal with a lot of those kills, get those guaranteed kills from the side of Seton Hall. You guys ought to switch the banners. Whilst we wait for spectator delay to Skyrim. Their masteries, yeah. Conquer. I didn't point this out last game because I didn't have the time to do much of it, but they did. And I wasn't really quite paying attention to where they were on the screen. But yeah, the Hail of Blades on Kaisa, and the Conquer. And Conqueror on a jungler, very good for aggressive bruiser type champions, especially But the glass cannon sounds on yeah. And right now Seton Hall once again going with the 5-man invade. DePaul is on the other end of the river too for the top side as well. There's no motion going on just yet. They're going in. They're on the red side. There's a ward dropped onto the red buff. But they do take it out. There's the red trinket that goes in to clear that ward. And it seems to be another top side clear. Yes, very early poke going on Cho'Gath's side. There's the knock-up. Early one, too. Shen dangerously low. There's a flash. No flash for it. Yes. Yeah. The bot lane going, there's a lot of quiet gangs going on there, quiet trades going on. The Reaper will sweep the red trinket, but they do not commit to a gank. Hecarim coming in opposite the dragon pit. There seems to be running towards mid. There's no engages falling out, but Galio is coming to provide coverage. No engages yet. The vision plant will be hit, but they will back off this safely. The Rift Scuttler will be free. Morgana Q, no good. And Orianna dangerously low. He's just hiding on the bridge, clearing the wrappers. Hecarim's coming in. Doesn't dash. Kha'Zix's trying to get the pick. Hecarim smites. And Galio backing off with Hecarim with the dash. There's the taunt. Doesn't hit anything. There's a flash above the wall. Nothing safe. Galio will remain safe for only a flash. There's a Morgana W that damage over time, the AoE damage, providing some pressure onto Jinx. Lulu shielded. Kazakh's coming in again. What will he do? He's on the tri-brush. He will recall. Out of vision. Will he cancel it? He does. Hecarim's just nearby. They see him. They do see him. Gets the Kaisa poke. He will jump away. And Hecarim will base. Kazakhs will stay out and farm. Galio coming into Rome, possibly on bot. No, he does. No, he doesn't. The Rift Scuttler does spawn in unimpeded. There is a Mia ping coming up. Warning pings coming up from the bot river too. Yeah. Yeah. I'm liking what I'm seeing on the Kazakhs building the lifesteal item too very early on. I'm thinking this would be a lead-in to the Duskblade for Kazakhs. But especially since a bunch of the league, especially since the Mythic especially since that being a mythic item with the lifesteal, I do think would provide significant benefit for Kazakhs as well. Kazakhs onto the Mountain Drag. Going solo. It's already at less than 25% health. Will he get it? He does get it with an early smite. Yes. The first blood. Missed that. Will go to Shen. I missed it. But I think it was largely a solo kill too with the Stand United as well. Excuse me, that was not Stand United. Right, so Kazakh's back on the Rift Herald. He will start it. Uh-oh, there's the vision plant. Hecarim sees him. He did get the Rift Herald taken down. Kazakhs will ult away. Doesn't quite get the hop. Hecarim bursts him out. Hecarim does knock him off. The ultimate will... Hecarim will ultimate as a result of a flash. Orianna coming in for some assistance, and Reaper will fall. The Morgana Q will not pick. There's a Jinx Q, there's a Jinx W, it connects, Zap does. The Morgana Q doesn't hit, but the pool of damage will clear off the wave. Kai'Sa dangerously low. The Rift Herald summoned at the bot lane. This will be first tower. And right now they're waiting. It seems that DePaul are waiting for the dragon to spawn. This will be an Infernal Dragon. Less than a minute to go on that. Less than a minute to go on that regard. There's Hecarim clearing the Raptors, but Kha'Zix, does he see him? There's the pink ward right there. He does hop away. Thirty 20 seconds for Dragon to spawn, excuse me. But Seton Hall, they're already dancing around the pit. I think they will be getting this one pretty safely. The Infernal Drake for Seton Hall too would be significant for their damage output, especially since they've got two hyper carries in the form of Orianna and Kai'Sa. This will not be contested by DePaul. They will safely transition over toward the bot lane. The Ocean Dragon coming up next. Very, very interesting. Which I don't think will benefit Seton Hall, will benefit DePaul as much as it does Seton Hall. Reaper diving in against the Shen. Does get the kill. Turret plating following. There's a teleport coming in. Orianna. Hecarim coming in, possibly for a flank behind. There's the E. Flashes away. The ultimate does not connect to anyone. Lulu ults. Zap comes. I think Super Mega Death Rocket was also fired. There's Orianna. Orianna command attack, command pulse. Galio coming in. The taunt will connect. And Seton Hall, with most of their members dangerously low, lose their jungler. Yes. And two.
Up and down.
And 2 men down going on this. Never mind. Reaper safely farming in for the wolves. There's no objective timers that can be... The objective timers are going to be coming in. There is going to be another Rift Herald that will be spawning in a couple. 20 seconds. There's the vision, causes Hecarim to back off. Reaper coming in for the chase. But Hecarim, he's slowly backing off. He is going top. Reaper continuing on to the top lane. We do see most of nothing going on. But most of the bot lane is going on. But most of the team is on the top. They do manage to pick up Shen. Now they're following through. Galio coming in. And so does Kha'Zix. Gets off Morgana. And now they turn to face the Rift Herald once again. A second Rift Herald toward DePaul. And now they're going to be wanting to turn towards the dragon too, this ocean dragon. I did mention that this wouldn't provide as strong an effect by DePaul as it would for Seton Hall, coming in on about 5 seconds. Most of Seton Hall respawning. They're going to be they're going for the bottom. They're going for that pit. The control ward is there, denies them vision. But they do get that ward. It's out of the control ward's range. They do see it. Morgana there, ready to position for a steal. Will she do it? There's a Q. No good. The smite comes in right on time. I actually want to take this moment too. There is approximately a 4,000 gold lead in favor of DePaul. They don't majority of towers. Seton Hall yet to take one. Baron coming in a couple, and all this pressure that they're mounting on top, that DePaul is mounting on top, could easily translate into a Baron power play. They're summoning the Rift Herald on mid, but but Reaper is walking away, slowly transitioning towards top. I believe this was to draw that Hecarim out of there. He's right there. There's the damage. Hecarim charges onto him. The challenging smite gets fired. He will fly away. Stand United coming in. Meanwhile, meanwhile in the red side jungle, Orianna does get caught off. Galio protobelts forward. Doesn't quite hit anything. Hecarim not necessarily able to prevent that tier 2 mid turret from being destroyed. The ultimate coming in from Hecarim does manage to get charged. Galio ulting. Gets the knock-up. Gets picked off, Hecarim does. And so does Morgana with the Super Mega Death Rocket. Shen gets picked off by Reaper. And now a 6k gold lead in favor, almost a 6k gold lead in favor of DePaul. And now DePaul, they're turning on the Baron with a relatively uncontested action. Yes. Relative. We'll see for a moment. Oh, not, yeah. Yes. DePaul with a very big power play too, with a relatively uncontested Baron and a. Alright, there's the team fight coming in from mid. Galio charges in. Orianna relatively easily being able to pick off. To be dispatched from a... Morgana dangerously low. Shen taunted. The zap coming in from Jinx. They're on the tier 3. They're on the inhibitor. This could very well easily be game. Especially with the incoming Baron wave. The Baron empowered cannon minion. They're targeting the Nexus turret. Hecarim dives in. Ults. Doesn't gets silenced. He gets dispatched. And now Kaisa managed to shut down Galio. Reaper trades. Only one man left on. Only one player left on the side of Seton Hall. Orianna gets picked off. That's the ace. But will they be able to tank this tower? They will be. And the game's end. And the game ends with DePaul taking it over Seton Hall once again.
All right, Mike, it looks like we are going to try to see if we can pull up some of the results from the last match.
Yes.
Cool. So another win for DePaul there.
It was relatively.
Go ahead, Mike.
It was relatively a simple game for DePaul too. I think that what happened in the end, we got the right
there. We
there.
go. I think we were able to.
I think it was that last team fight too. We've got Seton Hall trying to salvage whatever they could out of this game, as a response. The Hecarim dives, the Kaisa dives, and of course they get traded off. The ace coming in with Morgana trying to poke in, and the Orianna gets picked off. That's another ace, and then of course they're trying to tank that last Nexus tower. And they're on and of course they're on the Nexus, an uncontested Nexus. The Baron empowered minions coming in at the last moment, ending that game.
All right, so it looks like we got another DePaul victory, Mike. I guess your school showed you, right?
Yeah, I'm one for just wearing the colors for utmost professionalism, whereas I end up just not pledging my support to someone else entirely.
Well,
I'm a commentator here. Well, in reality.
We know you're unbiased, though. At least we know you're not biased, right? So you'll try to go with what you think is definitely going to be the best win out of them all, though. Good job.
Yeah, that was
overall,
unfortunate. Unfortunately, this is one of the major reasons why I'm not an investor, because I tend to bet the wrong way, for one thing. That and a huge fear of losing out. That and a huge fear of loss. That's another big reason as well. But ultimately, I think back to the game. All of that aside, back to the game, what we did see in Game 2 was a very, very heavy Kazakh-centric composition. Like I said, Reaper was a very hit-and-run player with that champion. I think most of the momentum that happened toward DePaul that caused them to secure most of the game was being able to use that jungle momentum to secure many of these critical ganks and get all their hyper carries out into a very competent state.
True. And I think in both of these cases, these were wins by DePaul at somewhere around the 30-minute mark. So I know almost kind of consistently doing the same things over and over again. So I know you got a couple of things coming up, Mike, and I know you may be casting for a few other things. Before we take a break and get ready to boot up for Rocket League at 5:30 today, where can people catch you at next?
Well, you can catch me next at Smash. I'm going to be casting the Smash, possibly on the Smash event for this entire whole day as well. But if you really want to, you can follow me at Mendicant ECT if you so desire. I'll appreciate you stopping by and saying hi.
Sweet.
And all my socials are on my Discord too. If you're wanting to be linked up to that.
Perfect. No, man, I mean, you did a great job today in this. And then, of course, I personally appreciate whenever you come through for our Smash Brothers tournaments during our weeklies as well. So pretty good chance you guys are going to be able to catch Mike again on the microphone coming up at, I want to say that's 5:30 to 7 is Rocket League. And then Smash Brothers will be coming on right on after that. So there's a good chance you guys might be able to catch them again. Tune back in, guys, at 5:30 right here for Rocket League, and we'll be ready to go then. Actually, we can take that back upstairs.